I recently obtained my permanent residency under the Friendly Nations Visa here in Panama. And I worked with a law firm, Legal at Work, based in the JW Marriott building here in Panama City. I wanted to give a shout out to them for all of their help and all of the extra work that they did to help process and obtain my visa. I want to just say at the start that I'm not being paid to make this video. I wasn't solicited. They're not even aware that I'm doing it. I'm just doing it here from my hotel room as kind of a small shout out to say thank you for Claudia Perez and her team at Legal at Work and all of the amazing things that they did to make my visa happen. I know when you start this process, it can be a little unsettling. There's 25,000 attorneys here in Panama City. It's crazy. It's kind of like the Wild West. And when you're kind of starting this process, you're anxious about getting scammed. You don't know if the people you're working with are really legit. You reach out on social media and you get a whole constellation of people saying this one and that one. And I called some of those individuals, and quite frankly, I was shocked that some of the very basic fundamental questions that they should have been able to answer about the process, they weren't able to. I would ask, how many other visas have you processed? Your Adonidad number, and that's the number that they give them, kind of like the Bar Association license number back in the United States that says this is someone that's registered as a licensed attorney. Now, attorneys work a little bit differently here in Panama. Up until a year or so ago, they would just take a series of classes and they could just kind of establish and say that I'm an attorney and they could practice. There was no national exam up until a couple of years ago, and now they get this Adonidad number that says, hey, this is they are an attorney that is legitimate. They also, you might want to check out the public registry to make sure that the business is licensed and in operation here in Panama. And then also, of course, word of mouth. I realize that sometimes people are trying to go on the cheap side, and Legal at Work and Claudia Perez and her team seem to be comparable to what other law firms were charging. I realize that there are some out there that are very inexpensive, but you need to be aware. I knew I was in the good hands when I went down to the immigration office with one of the attorneys that was working with me, and he was shaking hands with everybody, security guards and other staff and other attorneys. I could tell this guy is well known here. This is not his first rodeo, and that certainly boosted my confidence. I was also appreciative for Claudia Perez and her extra efforts that she went over and beyond what was just necessary for my visa. She was willing to pick me up from the airport. She took me down to a bank. She helped me open up a bank account. And for those of you who don't know, that is a process here in Panama that requires a lot of documentation and recommendations, and even getting a reference letter from your bank back in the United States seemed like just an insurmountable task. Banks just didn't even want to say, hey, you banked with me for 30 years, you're a member in good standing. At any rate, I'm so grateful for Claudia Perez and all of her staff and the hard work that they did to put this together. I will say that one thing I did appreciate about this law firm is Claudia was from Nevada as well, which is where I'm from. She had been to UNLV, spoke perfect English, and was able to articulate and explain all of the steps for the process. They emailed me. They were timely in their responses to all of my communication. And overall, at the end of the day, they made this happen. They pulled the trigger on all of this and they executed it. And I have my permanent residency under the Friendly Nations Visa. So thank you to Claudia Perez, the Legal at Work team, all of the staff. They've been so helpful. And I just wanted to recommend them and do a shout out for them as being a good group that you can work with. They're a smaller law firm, which I liked because I just didn't want to get lost in all of the files that a larger law firm has, and then feel like things were getting missed or that I wasn't getting the attention that I deserved. So I highly recommend this group. And again, doing this video kind of as a thank you, unsolicited, unpaid, and I don't have any conflicts of interest in making this video. So just wanted to give back to the community of Panamanians and also expats that are trying to find a legitimate attorney, and this is just one that I could recommend.